Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep into a case that chills you to the bone.
Yeah, it's one of those stories that just sticks with you.
It's the Snedeker family haunting, 1986, Southington, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. This one's a classic.
A family just looking for a fresh start. They find this, beautiful historic home.
Seems perfect, right?
Yeah. Little did they know they were moving into, well, a nightmare.
A nightmare fueled by the house's, its past.
Oh, right. This house has a history. A seriously dark history.
This house used to be, get this, a funeral parlor.
Okay, that's creepy enough on its own.
It is, and the Snedekers, they didn't just, hear about this history. They discovered it firsthand.
You're kidding.
Nope. Carmen Snedeker, the mom, she found all this, leftover stuff from the funeral home.
Like what?
Like embalming tools, toe tags, even pictures of, the deceased, all down in the basement.
I wouldn't be able to sleep a wink.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
It got way worse than just some creepy old stuff.
Oh, yeah. The Snaggers, they started experiencing some seriously messed up stuff.
What kind of stuff are we talking about?
It started small, like things going missing, a shadowy figure here and there.
Okay, but it didn't stay small.
Not at all. It escalated quickly.
I read Carmen said she'd see the water in her mop bucket turn blood red. Blood red, and this awful stench of decay would just fill the air.
Oh, God, that's awful. Just cleaning your house and you're hit with the smell of death.
Yeah.
Huh?
How do you even process that?
And the worst part, this is where it gets really disturbing.
Okay.
Both Carmen and Alan, the parents, they said they were sexually assaulted by something they couldn't see.
No way. It's terrifying. To be violated like that by something you can't even see.
Yeah, it's a whole other level of violation. You're totally helpless.
And then there's Philip, the son. He was already battling Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah, the poor kid was going through so much already.
And then this. The house, it seemed to change him.
It's like whatever was in that house latched onto him.
He became aggressive, even cruel to his siblings. There's this one story where he spun his younger brother, Bradley, on a gurney, like an old funeral home gurney, until the poor kid was hysterical.
I remember reading that. And he locked Bradley in a chest at one point, too.
Just awful. The doctors thought it was schizophrenia brought on by the cancer treatments.
It makes sense. The stress, the medication, it could have been a factor.
But the Snickers, they were convinced it was the house. The evil in the house, twisting Philip, making him do those things.
That's a terrifying thought.
Absolutely. So they call in, who else? Ed and Lorraine Warren.
The paranormal investigators, they were like the ultimate ghost-busting team.
Exactly. And their investigation, it just makes this whole thing even creepier.
What did they find? The Warrens, they concluded that the morticians who worked there before, they had practiced necromancy.
Necromancy?
Yeah.
Like talking to the dead. Isn't that, super dangerous?
Oh, it's way more than just talking. It's like trying to control the dead, using their power for, dark magic and stuff.
So they thought these necromancers, they messed with forces they didn't understand.
Exactly. And the Warrens, they believed that those dark rituals, they kind of stained the house, left this residue of pure evil.
So that's what was tormenting the Snickers, this leftover evil energy.
That's what the Warrens thought. They actually recommended an exorcism to, get rid of it.
An exorcism. Wow. They must have been pretty convinced this was serious stuff.
Oh, yeah. An exorcism, that's not, your everyday solution. It means they thought they were dealing with something really powerful, something demonic.
So did they do it? Did they exorcise the house?
They did. They brought in a priest, and in 1988, they performed the exorcism.
And what happened? Did it work?
Well, the Snedekers, they said that after the exorcism, the activity stopped. Peace was restored.
So, happy ending.
Well, not so fast. There is another side to this story. A lot of people, they don't buy the Snedekers story. They think it was all, made up.
Really? Like a hoax? Why would they do that?
Well, there are a few reasons people are skeptical. For one, the landlord, Daryl Kern, he said the house was never a funeral home.
Wait, what? So the whole funeral parlor thing was a lie?
That's what Kern says. He also claims that the Snedekers, their stories, they got more dramatic whenever they were behind on rent.
So maybe they made it up to get out of paying rent.
It's possible. Some people think they were just trying to get sympathy or even a rent reduction.
That's kind of messed up if it's true.
It is. And then there's the neighbor, Catherine Altimus. She said she often saw the family outside, like, laughing and playing, looking totally normal.
That doesn't sound like a family living in terror.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if they were really that scared or if they were, putting on a show.
And what about Philip? What do people say about him?
Well, even his friends, they had their doubts. They said he was always a bit of a storyteller, like to be the center of attention.
So maybe he exaggerated things, made the haunting seem worse than it was.
Could be. It doesn't necessarily mean he was lying, but maybe his imagination, got the best of him.
And I read that years later, a woman named Susan Trotta Smith, she bought the house and lived there for like 10 years, no problem. She called the whole haunting thing Hollywood foolishness.
Right. If the house was really that haunted, wouldn't it have, haunted her too?
Good point. But here's the craziest part. Ray Garton, the guy who wrote the book about the haunting in a dark place, he admitted that he noticed some inconsistencies in the Snedeker stories.
Inconsistencies? Like what?
Well, he didn't say exactly. But get this. He claimed that Ed Warren actually told him to use what works and make the rest up.
Wait, seriously, the paranormal investigator told him to fabricate parts of the story.
That's what Garton says.
Wow. If that's true, it kind of makes you question everything, doesn't it?
It really does. So what are we supposed to believe? Were the Snedekers haunted by real evil, from those necromancers? Or was it all just like a big lie?
It's tough to say for sure. There's evidence on both sides.
I mean, part of me wants to believe it, The house, the necromancers, the exorcism, it's all so creepy.
It is a great story.
But then you hear about the landlord saying it was never a funeral home, and the neighbor saying the family seemed fine, and Garton's claims about Ed Warren.
Yeah. It's like, where does the truth end and the fabrication begin?
Exactly. But even with all the doubt, there's something about this story that just, I don't know, gets under your skin.
I think it's because, well, it plays on our deepest fears.
Yeah, like the fear that there are things out there, in the dark that we don't understand, that we can't control.
And the fear that our homes, the places where we're supposed to feel safe, could actually be, hiding something sinister.
It makes you think twice about, like, that weird noise in the attic or that cold spot in the basement.
Right. Suddenly those everyday things, they take on a whole new meaning.
So even if the Snedeker haunting wasn't, like, 100% real, it still serves as a reminder.
A reminder of what?
A reminder that the world can be a pretty scary place. And that sometimes the things we can't see are the things we should fear the most.
Well said. That's a pretty good note to end on, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. So until next time, everyone, keep your lights on and maybe sleep with one eye open. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows.